Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how touched and delighted I am to have been invited to participate in this first ever climate summit, being hosted by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and taking place all around the world. I know your network has been tackling the humanitarian impact of climate change for many years, and now more than ever, it is imperative that the long-ignored issue of global warming and climate change is taken seriously. If I may say so, it is enormously encouraging to see that this virtual summit is bringing together every national society, along with your immense network of staff and volunteers, in a call to action with such a vital global purpose. As some of you may have discovered by now, I have been talking for many years about the truly grave consequences of not acting on the twin crises of climate change and biodiversity loss. It is now at last more widely accepted that these challenges will heavily impact future generations. But many people still do not seem fully to understand that it is impacting our lives today in alarming ways. And for the most vulnerable, this is catastrophic. From homes being destroyed by severe flooding to farmers struggling to feed their families after failed harvest upon failed harvest, we are all united by the climate emergency right now. As the oldest and largest humanitarian network in the world, your staff and volunteers at the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies so often see the impacts of climate change and extreme weather events at first hand. I recall visiting Dominica not long after the devastating Hurricane Maria struck in 2017 and was deeply impressed by the work of the Red Cross in such difficult circumstances, endeavouring to reach remote communities with aid and assistance in spite of the severe logistical challenges. Tragically, I believe we will see these extreme weather events growing in frequency and intensity as the climate continues to warm. Floods driving people out of their lifelong homes, droughts leaving communities without enough food to eat, and storms destroying livelihoods. Therefore, your work will only become more and more urgent and more vital. However, we simply cannot sit back and wait for the climate to change around us and just accept these disasters as an inevitability. As the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated in recent months, we need to be on the front foot, preparing for what is ahead and making good decisions in advance. If I may, I would urge you during this summit to consider ways in which you can not only adapt to the changing world around you, but also to transform both the way in which you operate and also the world around you. When we recognize that the modern world and our natural systems are fundamentally interconnected, it seems to me that our response to the terrifying number of emerging planetary emergencies, including pandemics, climate change, biodiversity loss, public health and food insecurity, needs to be interconnected as well. This has been the motive behind my Sustainable Markets Initiative, which aims to put people and planet at the heart of global value creation while accelerating the transition to a sustainable future. With solutions increasingly available, I strongly believe that it is time to put nature back at the centre of our economy. This approach presents an inspiring opportunity for climate action, innovation, and new ways of thinking about future economic growth. Faced by the colossal impact of the current pandemic on families, communities, governments, and economies, we have an unparalleled opportunity to reimagine our future. As we rebuild the global economy in the midst of this crisis, we must set ourselves on a new trajectory of sustainable employment, livelihoods, and economic growth. In a period of high global unemployment, many sustainable investments can be used to build the future we so desperately need, be they in renewable energy, green infrastructure, reforestation, or agriculture. Now, I was recently encouraged to learn of the African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative, or Africa 100, which is a country-led effort to restore 100 million hectares of deforested and degraded landscapes across Africa by 2030. This has the potential to enhance food security, increase employment opportunities, improve climate change resilience and mitigation, and combat rural poverty and all the issues that you know far more than I do about. Local lives and livelihoods, today and for generations to come, must be central to our climate efforts. This is the ethos of the sustainable markets approach. The experience of Red Cross and Red Crescent staff and volunteers at the community level in countries all over the world can play an invaluable role in helping to determine the new and sustainable trajectory we should take. This is why this summit is so important, as collaborating together we can work with real urgency to transform our world for the better and limit the damaging effects of climate change on the most vulnerable communities that you serve. With impending climate and biodiversity catastrophe, we simply cannot wait any longer to restore the delicate balance with the natural world. Now, I must say, particularly in my capacity as President of the British Red Cross, that I'm full of admiration for the incredible work you all do every day to serve those in greatest need. And if I may say so, you are an inspiration, and I would be delighted to work with you all in the weeks and months ahead on this most urgent agenda